The African savanna in the rainy season is a symphony of life. But what happens when that symphony is suddenly interrupted by a single, desperate cry? In a world ruled by the brutal cycle of nature, a young park ranger is about to face a choice that could change everything. Will he break the unwritten rules of the wild to save a life? Or will he stand by as the inevitable unfolds? The sun broke over the African savanna, casting a golden light over the lush, verdant grass. A gentle breeze carried the scent of damp earth and new life. This was not the harsh, dry season, but the rainy season, a time of abundance where every creature thrived. Kadipo Valley National Park was at the peak of its glory, and the landscape was a vibrant, living canvas. For Alex, a young park ranger with healthy skin and eyes that mirrored the green of the savanna, this was home. His patrol truck glided along tracks covered in tall grass. Alex wasn't just a protector of this land, he was a craftsman of it. He read the stories told in fresh tracks on the damp ground, the joyful whispers of birds in flight, the soft murmurs of a brimming watering hole. His job was to protect the wildlife, but his connection to the animals was much deeper. It was a profoundly personal pact with the wild. He understood the delicate balance of this ecosystem, the dance between hunter and hunted, the necessary cycles of life and death. He had seen it all, the swift, silent hunt of a cheetah, the patient vigilance of a lioness, and the brutal territorial clashes of bull elephants. He understood these were the rules of nature, and he was but a quiet observer, a silent protector. But deep within him, a belief simmered, that even in a world governed by instinct, there was a place for compassion. A belief that a single act of kindness could, sometimes, rewrite the rules. The low hum of the truck's engine was the only sound for miles, a monotonous tune in the vast silence. Then, a sharp, piercing cry sliced through the stillness, a sound of pure, unadulterated terror. It was a high-pitched, desperate wail that Alex knew instinctively belonged to a baby animal. He slammed on the brakes, his heart lurching. This was not the sound of a routine hunt. It was a cry for help. Abandoning the truck, he moved with the practiced stealth of a hunter, his senses on high alert. He followed the sound, pushing through the thorny acacia bushes, his gaze sweeping across the landscape. The wail grew louder, more frantic, a ragged plea for rescue. And then he saw it. Nestled in a patch of green grass was a baby rhinoceros, no more than a few months old, its small body shuddering under the immense coils of a giant African rock python. The serpent, a thick, muscular beast with a patterned skin that blended perfectly with the green environment, had the calf in a death grip. Its powerful coils were slowly, methodically tightening, squeezing the life from the terrified creature. The rhino calf's breaths were coming in ragged, shallow gasps, its tiny horn a pathetic defense against the crushing force. The sight was a jolt of raw, primal fear. But before fear could take hold, another sound reached him, a low, resonant rumbling that vibrated through the ground. In the distance, a small herd of rhinos, their massive bodies were charging towards the scene. And at their head was a magnificent, powerful female, the mother. She was bellowing, a sound of furious, protective rage, her head held low, her horn pointed menacingly. Alex was caught between two converging threats. The python, a coil of immense power, and the mother rhino, a force of nature in a state of pure fury. If he waited, the calf would die. If he acted, he could be crushed by the python's coils or trampled by a protective mother who saw him as just another threat. He was a single man against a conflict of ancient instincts, and the clock was ticking. There was no time for hesitation. The thunder of the rhino's hooves was growing louder, a relentless drumbeat of impending confrontation. Alex knew that he couldn't fight the python head-on. Its strength was incomprehensible. He had to be smart, swift, and above all, calm. He crouched low, his eyes fixed on the python's head, the only part of its body not wrapped around the calf. He moved with a quiet purpose, sidling closer, using the tall, green grass for cover. The python, engrossed in its kill, did not notice him at first. The calf's feeble struggles were the only thing that mattered. He drew a long, thick stick from his belt, a tool he used for clearing brush and probing burrows. It was a meager weapon against a creature of this size, but it was all he had. As he got closer, he could hear the chilling sound of the calf's strained breathing, each breath a small, rattling sigh. He could see the fear in its large, dark eyes. And then he saw his opening. The python's head was momentarily exposed as it adjusted its grip. In one fluid motion, Alex lunged, not to strike the snake, but to pin its head down with the stick. He applied just enough pressure to keep the powerful jaws from snapping at him, but not enough to injure the animal. This was his gambit, to confuse the python and momentarily disrupt its focus on the calf. The snake thrashed violently, its powerful coils tightening even further in a panicked reflex. The calf cried out in pain. Simultaneously, the mother rhino, seeing Alex's movement, roared a terrifying roar and broke into a full charge. The ground shook beneath her heavy tread. Alex's mind raced. He was trapped. He could either hold the snake and risk being trampled, or release it and lose the calf. He chose the former, using every ounce of his strength to keep the stick in place, his muscles screaming. The mud filled his lungs, and the roar of the mother rhino filled his ears. She was getting closer, her eyes blazing with a protective, furious rage. Just as the mother rhino was a few feet away, her massive body a wall of muscle and bone, the python, disoriented by Alex's pressure and chaos, momentarily loosened its grip. It was a fractional, fleeting release, but it was all Alex needed. With a desperate heave, he managed to pry a few of the outer coils away from the calf. The python, sensing it was losing its prey, released its hold entirely and slithered away into the underbrush, a dark streak of pure instinct disappearing from the scene. The calf, weak and breathless, collapsed to the ground, its body trembling. Alex, still breathless from the struggle, stood over the calf, his chest heaving. The mother rhino skidded to a stop, her massive body a wall of muscle and bone just a few feet from him. Her nostrils flared, and she let out a low snort. Alex stood frozen, his body ready to bolt, but his heart urging him to stay. He held his hands out, his body language calm and non-threatening, hoping that she would see him not as an enemy, but as a friend. For a long, silent moment, their eyes met. Alex saw the raw emotion in her gaze, the fear, the rage, and now, a flicker of what looked like confusion. She looked from him to her whimpering calf and back again. The fury in her eyes slowly, miraculously, softened. She seemed to know that he had just saved her child. She lowered her head, gently nudged the calf with her powerful horn, and coaxed it to its feet. The calf, wobbly but alive, let out a small, relieved bleat and pressed its head against its mother's flank. The rest of the herd gathered around them, a protective wall of gray hide. The mother rhino looked at Alex one last time, a silent nod of gratitude, and then she led her child and her family back into the deep, wild heart of the savanna. Alex sat down, exhausted, the adrenaline draining from his body, leaving him trembling. The air, once thick with tension, was now filled only with the quiet hum of insects. He watched the rhinos disappear, a cloud of dust the only sign they were ever there. He wasn't a hero. He was just a man who had made a choice to act, a choice born of empathy and an unwavering love for the natural world. The sun was beginning its slow descent, painting the sky in fiery oranges and purples. Alex thought about the fragile line between life and death in this wilderness, a line he had just seen redrawn. He thought about the work he did, the long, lonely patrols, the constant fight against poachers, the relentless struggle to preserve these magnificent creatures. This was a story not just about one man saving one animal. It was a testament to the powerful, unifying force of compassion. This story serves as a powerful reminder that the world of the wild is not just about survival of the fittest. It is about connections, unspoken trusts, and the profound bonds that can form when we, as humans, choose to step out of our own world and into theirs. This is the heart of what it means to protect and preserve. It is the responsibility and the love we owe to every living thing. This journey is a powerful reminder that our actions, big or small, matter. That protecting wildlife isn't just a job. It's a shared responsibility, a legacy we pass on. It's a love story for the planet. We can't all be a park ranger, but we can all contribute to a world where these precious creatures can thrive. So, join our community, share this video to spread this message of hope, and together, let's ensure that the wild places of this world and the stories they hold never fade away.